Hi folks, we were doing some prototyping work and the best way for us to machine this happens to be on a 5-axis machine, which allows us to drill these holes first. So a particular order of operations that we care about, which means on that same machine, I need to rough out and finish this interior pocket. Obviously, if I could, it might be way better to do this on a machine like a lathe, but we're doing it on a mill, and because I'm already drilling right here, that means I've got a drill in the machine, so I want to go ahead and gang drill this section out before I do the adaptives. So I wanted to walk through some of the CAD and CAM tips and tricks on what we do for best practices there to first gang drill it and then come through with the 2 tiers of adaptives that will help accommodate this interior pocket. First things first, over in the design space, I created a projection to project out my 3 diameters. First, we've got the interior boss right here. We've got the furthest outside diameter, and then slightly inside of that, we've got this shelf partway down that inside wall. What I then did was created a sketch representing my drill hole size, and I put it on a line, but right now we can still move that around. So let's go ahead and center it so that it's centered along the radial distance, if you will. And then we're also going to want to align that kind of over our hole, at least visually. So best way I can center this would be I grab a dimension of this slot here. I can see that that's 0.582, and then if I dimension this hole off the center here, I can click that, divide it by 2, and that centers it. And then I'd like that drill to drill over each of those 3 slots. That happens to be lined up fairly well. So if I turn on an origin, I can do a dimension between this line and this axis. Oops. Hold down, there we go, Y. There we go, 14 degrees. Perfect. I'd used a circular pattern there to put 12 instances of that sketch circle around that radius, or that circle. Over in the manufacturing workspace, we're going to want to create a drill, and we're going to use selected points, and I'm going to click on each of those 12 sketch points that I have, and I will choose the bottom face as the face right here, and I'm going to offset it by 10,000ths of an inch. Your comfort level may vary there, but I do want to keep that drill point off a little bit, especially if this is a critical face. Next, our first 2D adaptive, and this is probably the best example of where the magic happens here. So let's create a 2D adaptive on our own first. Normally I would just click the inside face here and that outside face here, and we'll say the bottom height will be that. Click OK. Nothing wrong with that, except it's not accounting for any of our pre-drill actions, nor is it plunging in at all. So you could fix the plunge in by choosing a pre-drill point, turn our sketch, and really any of these points would work. Click OK, and now at least it'll plunge into that hole instead of ramping in, which is great. But I don't want it to cut air. And actually, in a weird way, I care really about how the cut sounds, because we really use sound in our shop to know if something's right or wrong. So if we did this right now, what we'd see is we'd see the tool, we'd see the drill coming in and out of the cut quite a bit. And that's actually pretty antithetical to what adaptive is supposed to do, which is to try to maintain a constant ship load or constant engagement of that tool. So let's fix that. We're not going to use rest machining for 2 reasons. Number 1, rest machining doesn't really work well in 2D adaptive. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's totally different than the 3-dimensional operations in Fusion where rest machining is intelligent. But even in those where it's intelligent, it's quite taxing to calculate the toolpath. And we don't need to do all that because we know exactly what happened here, which is we already drilled this out. So under stock contours, I'm going to choose stock selections, and I'm going to say the stock is between here and here, and exclude all these drill points. So I have to go through and click all of these, although stand by here for a trick. I will say the selection in Fusion is better than ever, but it is still somewhat tedious, and in this particular example, it can be really easy to accidentally be selecting the pocket selections up here when you actually mean to be selecting the stock selections down there. Furthermore, I clicked one incorrectly, you can see, and I've got to highlight through, and that was face contours 9. Click the little X and delete that. So now what I've done is I've created a 2D adaptive, but it doesn't look like a regular 2D adaptive toolpath because we've told Fusion it can ignore the stock that's already been removed by the prior gang drill operation. For the second adaptive, I will turn our sketch on, pick the inside contour and then the second most outside contour. And for the stock selection, I can do the same thing where I turn off the sketch, turn on that solid and pick those faces. After I've picked them, I like to turn the visibility of that body back off. And under heights, bottom height will be a selection of the floor, but we'll add 0.010 of an inch to it. Make sure to adjust my optimal load back to something more reasonable for this. And I'm only going to leave 5 thou radial, no axial, because I'm already accounting for my axial stock here on the heights. And we might need to adjust with the tool stay down level. Let's see what it looks like though. Nope, great. So we're coming in once and working that tool all around. You could call this done. However, there's one further thing to consider, and that is the fact that our drill point is 140 degrees, and so I might need to adjust the low height planes of this process. Let's turn on a section analysis. Click OK. And if I zoom in, when we look at our drilling operation, I can hit Control T on my keyboard. There's an option for it down here as well. Cursor. Here we go, right here. Show tool on cursors, Control T. And if I highlight this toolpath, what I can see is at the bottom of this toolpath, because of the drill height, I've got some amount of material that I don't necessarily want to adaptive into. So this is now up to user preference as to how you want to handle it. If we want to be more conservative, we can increase this height plane such that we turn on both these toolpaths. We can see we need to come up further. There we go. That leaving 100 thou should give us even material on the adaptive side. And after that, we can decide how we'd want to finish this floor face. I'd probably consider doing a 2D bore toolpath. And since we know we roughed it all the way down to 100 thou, I can set my top height to be the whole bottom plus, say, 0.105. It'll give a nice even ramp in on the handling the outside edge, and I can actually add the inside pass to the same toolpath. We watch the simulation. We'll have drilled all our holes. We'll do the first adaptive, the second level adaptive, and then we'll come in with a nice 2D ramp and clean the rest of it up. One of the things I really like about this is, especially for small machines, hobby machines, machines with less horsepower, the ability to drill puts all the tool forces through the spindle directly up and down, so you end up with more capability and more making better use of the rigidity of your machine. And obviously, if you have a vertical machine center, also great. Plus, on a VMC, more likely you may have the ability to take advantage of things like thru-spindle coolant. Either way, folks, hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. See you soon.